Coming up tonight on CTV News, the annual First 15 rugby game between Christ College and Christchurch Boys High School today, and Dame Alison Holst debuts her newest food range in Christchurch. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Kenetta Knight. At 5:30 this morning, a number of shots were fired into a garage in the front of a property in Spraydon. No one was injured, although the occupants were at home at the time. A full scene examination was carried out today. The annual First 15 rugby game between Christ College and Christchurch Boys High School took place at Rugby Park today. Emily Cooper went along to have a look.
We're down here at the annual Christ College versus Christchurch Boys High School First 15 rugby game. We're going to wander around and take a look.
And we haven't had any issues at all. I believe we've turned 3 or 4 people away who turned up and had been drinking and weren't allowed into the ground. You take the alcohol away and the problems are gone.
So what school do you girls go to?
Christchurch Girls High School.
And who are you supporting today?
Oh, she's Christ and I'm boys all the way.
Breath testing this year, is that a bit different?
They did that last year as well,
Yeah.
and it's absurd. Like, parents should be able to have a drink before they come down.
Yeah, just a few wines, but I understand like the adolescents, it can get out of hand and security's way tighter. I reckon it's good for the game and, keep everything safe.
Dame Alison Holst debuted her newest food range at BP to go in Hallswell today, the first BP to have the new range of food in the country.
The days of plastic-wrapped pies in a warmer are gone. Dame Alison Holst launched a new range of food at BP to go Hallswell today, the first to be launched in New Zealand. BP to go Hallswell owner-operator David Owen and Dame Alison hosted a morning tea this morning for members of the community to test the range. Simon Holst says they wanted to bring some positivity to Christchurch.
Obviously, we want to do something positive, It seems like things have been pretty tough down here for a while, and hopefully this is it's something lighter, but also, we hope a positive thing.
The new food range consists of good Kiwi food to go with a Kiwiana theme BP introduced recently. Some of the food in the range includes lamingtons, bacon and egg pie, Sunday roast lamb pie, muffins and sandwiches.
Well, the whole idea of this is to have better food. When people are driving past somewhere, they buy their petrol, they come in, and if they see something that's good and interesting and tasty, it's so much better than just something that's nondescript. So we've worked very hard on producing good, interesting things that people will really enjoy on their stops as they're driving. It is, of course it's good New Zealand food. We have very good food in New Zealand and we enjoy cooking it too, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a little bit of nostalgia sometimes too, I think.
Yes.
Lamingtons, custard squares. It's good fun.
All those nice things. And it's lovely to come into the service station and see something that actually looks like a kitchen, as well as just the counters and the rest of the things there. So it's exciting. We're really enjoying it.
Certainly nice and inviting, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
The cordon will be further reduced, with areas being open to the public from 5 p.m. tomorrow. Sarah says the Zone 6 reduction will allow the one-way access running south down Colombo Street to Kilmore Street and turning right into one-way access running west along Kilmore Street to Victoria Street. The area is able to be opened as demolitions were completed on Colombo Street. Works to stabilise buildings in the area resulted in a reduction in drop zones, making it safe for the public to move through the area. Opening the area will allow the public to access some businesses. A small triangular section will also open in the southeast of the red zone. There will be one-way access west along Shoreham Street, and then a left turn into High Street will allow one-way access connecting to St Asaph Street. A cordon map is available to view online at canterburyearthquake.org.nz. Coming up after the break, we look at how to deal with stress. Welcome back. You're certainly forgiven if you feel stressed. It seems everything around you will add to your feeling of insecurity.
Rob, it is, and it's so ubiquitous in Canterbury life right now. And then, of course, you read the paper this morning and you go, right, well, let's all relax because we've just got a 6 on the way, maybe. 25% chance, though. But one thing's for sure is just about everybody's suffering. I had a friend all my patients I consider friends, so I had a patient this morning I get on very well with. She's in the eastern suburbs. And it's quite interesting because if you look at how it's impacting on different groups of people, over there, people are reacting quite differently. There is a resigned feeling towards it, which is actually quite a dangerous thing because it's like your hormonal production becomes suppressed completely across all fronts. So, and I do feel very much for the people over there. I think that we've got to be careful we don't lose sight of them. Because in chronic, when you start with ordinary stress, you get a hyper response because the stress response is about how do I survive. But as that process goes on and on and on, you then start to wear out the main gland that provides two main glands, the thyroid gland and the adrenal glands. They literally start to run down, and as they run down, your stress responses start to fail, and then people then can't respond to their normal environment when there's minor stresses. So what are you getting? Well, you're getting people with a whole lot of infections and other problems like that because that's all part of the body's normal response to stress, is to increase your immune response. That stays high for a long time and then it simply fails because it simply hasn't got the energy to keep going.
How do you recognise it in other people?
Malaise, chronic depression, non-communicative, very poor sleep, generalised, libido. Well, libido is one of the first things to go. I mean, you think about, it's all about survival, right? And you don't breeding when your environment's destructive isn't a good option because it's not a good chance that neither the pregnancy nor the mother will survive the process. So your libido is one of the first to go. Relationships become strained. People become selfish because they become self-survival orientated, right? So it's good to have things like, I think it's good when you see things like the Crusaders doing things, like Saturday wasn't quite so good for us, but I thought they battled really well though. I thought they did. I thought we were robbed at the last minute, bloody Reds. Never can trust a Red.
Nor in Australia.
Yeah, bad on two fronts. But I think it's good when you see public figures coming out and doing things for the community because it helps that sense of hope. Remember that the counter to that malaise is a sense of hope, and I do think communication from our public figures is absolutely critical. Knowing that it's going to take a long time with a timetable is more useful than people saying, oh yeah, well it's going to happen in the never. And I do, as I said, I feel very, very much feel for those people over in the eastern suburbs because I have a feeling that they feel, whether it's fear or not, they feel uninformed and they feel forgotten.
So recognising it in yourself, you look for the same things you've been saying?
Yeah. Sleep, energy, appetite, libido, relationships. They're the ones that I'll be looking for.
We've dealt pretty much with the city. What about the country folk who haven't necessarily been hit by the earthquake?
Well, I'd have thought with commodity prices now, most of them are feeling reasonably good. In fact, I'd say some of my farmers for the first time in a long time, particularly sheep farmers, have got a bit of a smile on their face. And frankly, good luck to them. It's been a damned hard, 20 years, I'd say. But yeah, you see, there's the other thing. You can go, okay, now I've got a good opportunity. I'm going to push myself. But be careful there too, You can have, there's two types. You can get another sort of stress, which is where everything's going fine, but you go, I've got to get this done, I've got to get that done, I've got to get that done. It's a different hormonal balance, right? But it can equally wear the system out. Nothing wrong with taking a break. Sam and I went away for the weekend. We just thought, get away from the shaky city. So we went up to Nelson. A lot of sunshine up there, I found.
A holiday would be a jolly good idea, even if you don't think you can afford it.
Maybe you can't not afford it, I don't have any negatives in there, but maybe you have to do it anyway, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Go and visit your rallies on the west coast. Go up to Nelson, get some sun. Don't have to spend a lot of money, but I think, and sometimes also change of environment. If we sit there looking at our same four walls, that can be very bad for us because it has that sense of dragging you down, that sense of hopelessness. And hopelessness, Dante's Inferno, right? Allegedly above the gates of hell, abandon hope all ye who enter here. And I think that is that state of hell, that personal hell, is that sense of hopelessness. So if you're if you've got a sense of this is going to go somewhere, this is going to improve. So I go again back to our public figures. They do have a responsibility to help generate that hope.
I spoke to Councillor Jamie Goff about what he got out of his trip to San Francisco on City Life.
We've just recently got back from San Francisco, so 5 city councillors and 6 business leaders from Christchurch went over to accept an invitation from the Mayor Ed Lee in San Francisco to learn really what they did about their earthquake recovery in 1989. And we also visited, and I didn't actually think that it would be as informative as what it was. I knew that the epicentre was in Santa Cruz. What I did know is that Santa Cruz had about 60,000 people, and I thought, well, this is just a different scale, but it'd be interesting to meet with their Chamber of Commerce, see what they did. But I think the real lessons, or the things that I took the most out of, were really from Santa Cruz. They didn't have the resources of San Francisco, or Christchurch for that matter. They didn't have the size, so they really, really had to innovate. It took them 2 years to put a plan in place. We've got less than 1 year. But it took them about a year to really refine down what they needed to do and what worked and what didn't work. So I got a heck of a lot out of that, and I really like to implement some of that stuff back in Christchurch.
What were some of the things you wanted to go over there to learn, and did you find out everything you wanted to learn over there?
Yeah, I think that I wanted to learn what they got right and what they got wrong, what they might have done differently, some of the innovative things that they did, the psychology of it, how long it took people to go back into buildings, and what they really changed and what opportunities they seized from the horrible situation that they were in.
So what kind of things have you brought back with you? What kind of ideas?
I think a lot of it was common sense, and as they say, it's not that common sometimes. But, the engagement side of it, I was absolutely committed and thought before I left, of course we've got to be bottom up, we've got to involve the community in this. This is probably one of the most essential things we could do. And going over there, I think the main message out of everything that I got back, and there were a heap of them, I've got screeds of paper on all of this, and it was just superb, but I came back very inspired. But it was that engagement just needs to be taken to a whole new level.
Rob Cope-Williams spoke to Minister Kate Wilkinson about Canterbury wine growers on Rob's country.
Minister, wine and the wine industry, you've come up with some pretty good ideas for tax.
We have indeed, and the wine industry is held in great affection by many in New Zealand. It's $1 billion industry. It's a fantastic flagship for our country. And the winemakers have been asking for some changes to some tax laws for a long time. In fact, they haven't had any changes for 14 years. So what we've done is just changed the thresholds. They have to pay excise tax. Most paid on a monthly basis. Now over half will pay on a yearly basis. So that will just align more with their revenue flows. And it's all based really on their tax liability. So if their tax liability is over $100,000, then they still have to account for it monthly. If it's between $50,000 and $100,000, it's 6 monthly. And if it's under $50,000, it's monthly. So that, from a cash flow point of view, that will be very welcomed by the wine industry. It's probably something that they wanted for a while, and it hopefully will make them more profitable, happy, and will be great as a country drinking even more wine.
Coming up after the break, your local weather and what's happening this long weekend. Welcome back. I spoke to Warren Feeney on City Life about what's going on at Sofa Art Gallery.
The major show that's opened this week is Nth Degree, which is the Masters exhibition that's opened at Sofa, and it's running till the end of next week, and there's a catalogue to accompany the show as well.
Who's involved with this showing?
Well, essentially it's an annual event that the school will run, and it's obviously Masters graduates, so 6 years of study at the School of Fine Arts, and it's not the moment when they kind of showcase their work, but it's an important exhibition in terms of, I guess, representing the school, and also the notion these artists are obviously about to head off into the world of professional art.
As you say, this is a group exhibition. What does it tell us about the state of arts in Christchurch at the moment?
I think it's an interesting exhibition in the sense that the work is inevitably of a really high quality. I mean, it's a great looking show, and what does it tell us about Canterbury? It tells us that Canterbury is producing some really interesting artists, and there's some great work coming out of there. I mean, there are 2 people in the show, when we have a look at them, who I think are, and I guess this comes down to personal choice, but I think they're particularly strong. And I walked in and thought, I want both of those works.
Is that right?
Yeah, no, there's some great pieces in it.
Now, you wanted another piece of artwork, and another one we're going to talk about later, and I'll see if you've bought that as well.
Okay.
Now, is there anything that unites these artists in their work?
Well, there is an overriding theme to it. It's nth degree, so the notion is it's about artists focused on meticulousness, I guess, processes and making, and described also in the catalogue as being kind of compulsive in their interests. And it's an interesting idea because I think that is part of it. But one of the ways in which the show works really well is when artists kind of have all that, but it's not that evident. You know, that is that there's I wouldn't call it a reckless disregard for all those things because it isn't, but it's kind of taken as a given, and you can see the artists are actually, fully in control of their methods and processes.
The New Zealand dollar has broken through new highs, but that isn't all bad, as Warren Head explained to Rob Cope-Williams yesterday.
Now, black swan has become quite highly identified with disasters. It's something which flies in at random. You don't know when one's turning up. There's a famous book by Nasib Talib called The Black Swan. It looks at the phenomena. All major disasters now are called black swans. They're unexpected. The earthquake was a massive black swan. We've produced a book. There it is, Rob. I'll let you have this copy to read tonight. It'll put you to sleep, no doubt, if you look at the internal pages. They're wonderfully written. The guy who puts them together has done a wonderful job looking at every public listed company in New Zealand, analysing it. But in the front we have a lovely coloured section, and I think there's a good photograph here. Well, it's not good from the point of view of what it's talking about. It's on the earthquake, the convergence of black swans. The theory is nobody knew that the black swan existed. In the rest of the world, they only knew of white swans until a European explorer found a black swan in Western Australia around about the middle 1700s. So since then, the black swan has been regarded as a freakish thing. We now shoot them out of the sky, so we've got more in New Zealand than we expected to have.
Or need.
They come from West Australia, but unfortunately now they're also identified with an economic or financial disaster. There you go, Rob. My pleasure. And in that context, the need right now, I guess, is to follow what's happening with our city's retailers. And it's interesting to see there that they are coming through this quite well. This is the time of the year when companies with March balance dates report, and by and large they've been good reports. I just quickly refer to a few of them in terms of the context of the city. The one that struck the high note for the market was Kathmandu. Kathmandu had an extraordinarily good half-year result. It's also announced it's going to rebuild its distribution centre in the Portalink Industrial Park. So that's excellent news. That'll service 37 stores through New Zealand. And they've got some stores caught up in the earthquake, notably their Cashel Street store, and all the others do. National Property Trust, which owns Eastgate, has been affected in terms of its valuation of Eastgate, and that wonderful asset will start reopening from the middle of this month, so we look forward to that. If you look at Hallenstein Glasson had several stores affected in the area, and I took a note just to make sure of my numbers on that to see how many there were. But Hallenstein Glasson has seven stores closed in the city, so they have a big national chain to hold their trend line together. Postie Plus has 4 stores closed, but Postie has come out with an excellent sales quarter. Most people are now trekking across town, finding the other stores in these companies, and so that damage seems to be picked up. This week we've seen restaurant brands out with a first quarter sales down about 4%. They had 19 store closures in Christchurch, quite a large number, 7 KFCs amongst them, and 8 Pizza Huts and about 4 Starbucks. 14 have now reopened, and that only leaves one big KFC shut, some Starbucks and the Pizza Hut at Shirley. So they're coming out of it. It's quite encouraging that the big companies turning their effort to get their stores back up operational.
And don't forget, Warren will be doing a weekly business update every Wednesday on CTV News. Here's Emily Cooper now with what's happening in your city this weekend.
Hi everyone. Well, we've got a few markets happening around town this long weekend. The Opawa St Martin's Farmers Market is held on Fifield Terrace every Sunday from 9 until 12. And the Littleton Farmers Market is held on Saturday from 10 at Littleton Main School. The monthly Lincoln Farmers Market and Craft Market is on Saturday. And don't forget, the Cathedral Square Market hasn't stopped. It's just moved and it's now being held at the YMCA car park, 9 until 3 every Friday and Saturday. We've also got Scared Scriptless, which is on every Friday and Saturday, and this week it's at the CPIT Student Common Room at 8 Friday night and at 8 on Saturday night at Hagley Community College. Now, if you guys have anything you think people should know about, let us know. You can email me, emily.cooper@ctv.co.nz, or call us here on 3777 033. See you all next week.
And that's CTV News. I'm Kaneta Knight.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.